What is the economic engine that you see for the 2016 Olympics for the city?
Well, the economic engine will be immediately, the decision will be made this year in October in Copenhagen. All cities will participate. All the leading presidents or prime ministers of their respective countries will be there to talk to international delegates, and that's what the usual formula is. And like anything else, Pat Ryan and I brought it to the 50-yard line, and we slowly give the ball to Barack Obama, our president, that will lead not only us, but our nation in regards to that effort of talking to international Olympic members. And that's how the process will be. Immediately, if we're successful, of course, we'll be in Washington, because Washington, D.C. gives money for infrastructure, which is the key, public transportation, roads, other things that go into the Olympics, and they give money for security. So instead of waiting till 2014 or 15 to do something, we think we can immediately jump-start it and be able to make the changes that are necessary in our infrastructure for the Olympics for the benefit of the citizens of Chicago in our future. That is very important, and that adds on to the stimulus package as well. Question? Yes.
Yes, with the Olympic race that we're in, what do you see the role of the business community in assisting you in that race?
Well, the role of first of all, the business committee is to access, whether it's consul generals, whether anybody else in respective countries that have a voting member. We have ethnic populations here. We have people that have maybe business relationship, ethnic identity into those countries. So the mayor, nobody else can talk to them, but people can talk to them about the city of Chicago, our presentation. That's very, very important. And eventually we're going to have fundraising in regard to the efforts of the Olympics, because we're not asking local taxpayers or state taxpayers to support this. We think we can do it privately. The federal government puts money into security, which is security infrastructure, is about 80% of the cost. Those are the major costs. At the same time, the city of Chicago doesn't have to build many things. Other cities had to build everything, and we're not going to build things that will be left over without any usage. Example, the opening closing ceremonies in track and field will be 80,000, but we'll cut down between 15 or 20,000 to be used for purposes in the community, lacrosse, football, different events at Washington Park, which is really important. But the business community can really help us in regards to identifying through Laura Healy, talk to the Chicago committee about who the voting members are, and be able to, some way, through business community others, be able to contact them and basically write in a letter and talk about the good things that will happen in Chicago. The evaluation committee will be here in April. They will evaluate, they visit every city appropriately in evaluating our plans and our sites for the International Olympic Committee. Yes.
Hi, Mr. Mayor. I have another area that could have some job creation, and that's the pothole situation. I'm here today, by taxi because my car is in some pothole on Grand Avenue somewhere.
You're lucky you're here.
Yeah.
One of the potholes as big as the Grand Canyon.
Potholes?
Oh yeah, it's simple. The more salt you use, the more potholes you use. But you want more salt, don't you? You're going to get more potholes. Because salt, basically, when it freezes, you put salt down. And when weather gets warm, it expands. Guess where the salt goes? It doesn't go upstairs. It goes down. It goes in the cement, in the pavement. And what it does, it starts corroding. Corrodes your car. If you ever fell on the street, it corrodes you too. And slowly but surely, it corrodes. So America wants to use salt. They want salt. More salt you put down, the more curbs you destroy, more streets, more sewers. You're destroying everything. And that's why we think we should have an alternative to salt. Now, this is the year of the environmentalists. We talk about global change, global warming, everything. Why don't we just talk about alternative to salt? If you really want to help it. We'll be asking mayors throughout your metropolitan area, many of you live there, in states to buy an alternative salt that we're using maybe out of Canada that doesn't corrode everything. The corrosion, that's what's going to take place. It even destroys the sewer covers, everything. And so you try to fill them as quickly as possible. But again, when you fill them, they're going to pop up again. And so you try to do your best you can. And remember, the state of Illinois has not funded for 4 to 5 years arterial street resurfacing. You've got no state money whatsoever for streets in Chicago. So why don't you call your state senators and representatives and say, why? We pay state taxes. Why can't, under George Ryan, we got $40 million a year. Democrats elected, no money. So, yes.
When you spoke to the club back in August before, and you look at what's going on in Greece, and you were nice enough to let me ask you a question. I put you on the spot and asked you if the Olympics were going to come to Chicago. At that time, you said no. So I'm wondering what changed your mind.
Well, at that time, we were not in the process of looking at it, especially for 2012, because we're not in the range for 2012, because if you look at it, it has to go to continents. It goes to Asia, Europe, has to move around. So for 2012, we were not in that whole process. It's going to go back to Europe. And we'd have wasted all the money in the committee and everything else to go for the 2012. After 2012, once they selected London, they were selected in London, we knew they were going to go back to Europe. Then we knew it was an opportunity for us to look for 2016. Yes?
Now that Arnie Duncan has been elevated,
Right.
what's ahead do you see for the Chicago schools?
Well, we have Ron Huberman, who's basically formerly my chief of staff. Paul Vallis brought it here. Arnie brought it here, and Ron Huberman will bring it to the next level. He's a great manager, works just as hard as anyone else, great insight, well-educated. None of the former Secretary Arnie Duncan or Paul Vallis were teachers in that quote. They were not in that profession. And he's done a tremendous job. He'll just do as a better job as anyone else. And Arnie Duncan has the experience going into the Secretary of Education, understanding what local people have to go through and how the federal government can have a great influence in assisting us and not be a detriment to the improvement of education. Yes.
When do you think we'll see dollars from the federal stimulus package make their way to Chicago and begin to have an impact on the economy here locally?
Well, that's the hardest thing. When we talked in Washington, D.C., understand it's federal laws. You have federal rules and regulations. We could fit all those buildings with all the laws and rules and regulations, all the federal buildings, and we would still have much room to put them in. That's how much you have to. That's how much federal laws, rules, and regulations you have. This is all federal money. That's by formula, and then it's by grant. In other words, you have to make an application. So if you make an application in 30 days, it takes them 90 days to review it, or maybe a year to review it, or 2 or 3 years to review it. And the formula now is based on a formula. And so what we're doing is we're looking at all of our infrastructure. We started about 2 or 3 months ago, and we said, okay, this sewer system, how old is it? How old is the sewer system? How old is this road? The state government gave us no money for state mandated streets in Chicago, various locations. And we already, how old they are, what we need the money for. And so we have a background for every item that we want, but at the same time, that's the formula. Then you have to apply for this. They don't even have the applications yet. Yet, they won't. How long is it going to take? They don't have the criteria. So again, it's going to take some time, and you have to have patience on this. Because when you're dealing with the federal government, you don't have patience, you'll not be around. You need patience. And I wish they could work in a faster way that you work in your private business.
One more question, Mr. Mayor?
Yeah. Yes.
And after 9/11, the city of Chicago had a fantastic plan which they implemented for the different events that took place here. And I think it's a wonderful example of how the city of Chicago is organized, and examples like that I'm sure can be generated for the Olympics or anybody in the world. But I think that's just one example I remember so well. And I know the city planned many years for that, and not knowing it was going to happen, but when it happened, Chicago handled it better than any other city.
Right, you have to remember, in 1995, we built a 911 center. the state-of-the-art technology for 911 calls now. I get criticized by every media. I mean, they said it's a boondoggle waste of money. I mean, that's what they accused. And we put everybody on the roof, fire, police, all emergencies. In other cities, they have the fire department over there and the police department over there. It's an emergency. They're first responders. And so you have to act collectively and not individually. And that's one thing the taxpayers understood how important the 911 system. That's a state-of-the-art facility. Our cameras are better and better. It's amazing what we've done with cameras, and they're still getting better and better. The key to policing and the key to safety is cameras. You don't have enough people with eyes. At the same time, you have to remember, in regards to Homeland Security, that you still, it really bugs me. I mean, just want to tell you how silly this is. I can today go and rent a plane, single and two-engine plane, get in there and fly any place in America, and no one says anything. But we're looking for a terrorist walking down the street, driving a car, in a plane, or on a railroad. But we're not looking at them in two-engine and single-engine planes. Now, why? Why that? How can someone fly a single-engine plane? They said, well, we're going to stop them flying from Congress Street going north. I said, do you have a turnaround sign or something? When you talk to the federal government, it's laughable. I said, oh, there must be someone saying, stop, in the name of, you know. I can't believe it. So you can fly a single-engine plane over any place except, I think, the White House. You can fly any place else. So it's kind of common sense. Don't you think you would rather protect? But you know why? The strongest lobbyist I found out after I closed Mixed Field. I'm telling you. You think the National Rifle Association was strong? Oh my God. The Piper Cub organizations. Oh, they have more influence. I mean, every congressman is doing flips. After I did that, they changed the law that no one can close a losing airport that lost money. About $1 million or $3 million a year. They said, you can't close it. Thank God we closed it. Because no commercial activity at all. And so what I have said is it's really interesting to talk to Homeland Security. They're not worried about single-engine planes or planes flying around America with explosives. I don't know why, but they must know something we don't know. But that is, it shows you they just don't have it. So thank you very much.
Thank you.